The following is an excerpt from Adventures in Grey Polyester, Volume 1, Ignorance, Ineptitude, and Indecency, Inside the World of Hotel Security. The excerpt is entitled, The Drunken Bride. So on this night, there was a wedding reception at the hotel, and it got rather rowdy, but did not cross any lines. The lobby was incredibly full with people, as the bar had just let out. And as I was trying to watch everyone, I hear a shout, "Hey, Lieutenant!" I had recently been promoted to field supervisor, which is a story for another time, but was still covering shifts in addition to my new duties. And even though it was against the rules, I had, in an effort to distinguish my uniform from the other guards, adorned my collar with a pair of black lieutenant bars. The company I worked for did not have a ranking system, but a quick Google search had shown that the field supervisor and or training supervisor position in other companies are often represented by lieutenant bars. I don't actually know if that's true, but I read it on a website, and at the time, it was good enough for me. As I said, I was most likely looking to distinguish myself visually from the rest of the pack. And yes, I had always been attracted to the idea of rank in a chain of command, while at the same time having a massive problem with authority. Yes, I am aware that I am a confusing individual that doesn't make much sense sometimes, but I digress. I looked in the direction of the shout and saw a man waving me over. As I got closer, I saw he had the bride with him. Once I got even closer, I saw that the bride's hand was covered in blood. I immediately brought her out of the lobby to sit on a bench where I could get a better look. I sent the man to the front desk to get the first aid kit from someone. What happened? When the bride opened her mouth to answer, I realized how drunk she really was, as the stench of liquor was unbelievable. My hand got crushed at the door. The guy got back with the kit, which I used to clean up her hand. What door? Room? The door to your room? Ow. Sorry, dear. I just got to clean it up to see how bad it is. It was bad. Not ambulance worthy, but she needed stitches for sure. Miss, this is a pretty deep gash. You should go to the hospital and get stitches. She looked me dead in my face and said, I don't have health insurance. I was a bit confused. After all, the wedding reception at the hotel was not cheap in the least. I had checked out of curiosity once, and needless to say, it was far more than I would have ever spent. So I was confused as to how somebody was paying for a reception here if they couldn't afford health insurance. But again, I digress. I pushed these thoughts away for me to muse over later on. Okay, look, I can butterfly it and bandage it up real good. But I really must tell you, it would be best if you got a doc to look at it. She nodded at me. And I said about using the butterfly stitches to close it up and bandage her up with gauze and antiseptic gel. I had a side thought during this, that being that I couldn't believe how much of my Boy Scout training I actually remembered through this. I mean, don't get me wrong, the company had given first aid training, but nothing in that course would have been especially helpful in this situation, so I was reaching back a bit further in my file to handle this. After I had her patched up, I said, "Okay, miss, I need you to look at me." I said this because she had been doing a fair bit of drunken rambling through this whole thing, and I made sure she was making eye contact with me before saying, "I have patched you up. But again, I really must stress to you that this gash needs stitches, and you should go to a doctor as soon as possible." She drunkenly nodded. I looked at the guy, and he nodded too, and then they walked away. I never saw them again, and I'm thinking that out there somewhere is a blonde woman with a nasty scar on the back of her hand who tells this story from the other end. That's if she could remember any of it.